This was my second photo shoot at Benham Park. And in this video I wanted to show you what I did differently, what worked better this time, and what I learned from coming back to the same location. The biggest advantage of this second shoot was that I already knew the space. On the first shoot, a lot of time went into working out which lighting setup to use, how to approach the rooms, and how to make the bottles stand out in such a grand interior. This time I came with a much clearer plan. The setup was actually very similar to the first shoot, but the way I used it was more efficient. Because this time I used only spotlight without another softbox, without using two lights in the same time, just from the learnings from the previous photo shoot, and this speed up process instantly because I already knew what type of look I'm looking to achieve. The main difference on this shoot was the number of bottles in each frame. Most of the shoot were smaller groupings, usually 2 or 3 bottles, which made composition easier to control. We only had 1 or 2 setups with 6 bottles. Compared to the first shoot, that made a big difference because smaller groups are faster to arrange and just easier to place within the space. And even though we had more images to create this time, around 11 or 12 instead of just a few main setups, the whole shot actually moved faster. On the first shot, we spent time testing different options and trying to understand what would work best in the space. But on this shot, I knew from the start that the spotlight was the right choice. It gave me the way to leave the bottles, shape the light more precisely, and keep the atmosphere of the room without making the whole image feel too staged. When I scout a location like this, the first thing I look for is simplicity. Before I even place the bottle in the frame, I wanted to know whether the scene works on its own. I look at the shape of the room, the background, the balance and the composition, and whether the space already has enough structure to support the product. Only after that do I start bringing the bottles into the frame. For the first setup, I used the position closer to a large window so I could keep some natural light in the image. Then I used the spotlight to give the bottles more presence and separation. That combination worked really well. Again, natural light for atmosphere, spotlight for focus. Like before, I used digital camera to test composition and make some quick decisions. Once I was happy with the composition, I shot the final images on the Mamiya RZ67 with Porsche 400. This is my favorite camera for this kind of work. I just love the final look. Medium format film gives me something that I still struggle to get from digital. Maybe part of this is a personal taste, but I do think there is something very specific in the way those images feel. The format, the rendering, the overall mood, it gives the frame the quality that feels harder to imitate. One of my favorite setups was this one, and I think it looks very interesting, especially because of the photo above the table. I don't know, I feel like it has something interesting, this frame. The colors in that part of the room were already beautifully arranged, especially the pink tones. And I felt that was the right place to position 6 bottles in more considered, graphic way. I wanted the bottles to feel connected to the room, not dropped into it. So instead of treating the product separately from the environment, I tried to match the shapes and the colors around it. To help with that, I used the circular cutout on the spotlight and adjusted the warmth of the light so it leaned more towards pink. I wanted them to have more personality, to have more tension, something that felt more specific to the location and more considered visually. That is probably the main thing I was trying to push on this second shoot. Not just make images look good, but making them feel more unique. And I think coming back to the same place helped a lot with that, because on the second visit you are no longer spending all of your time and all of your energy figure out the space out. You can use that energy to be more selective, more intentional, and hopefully more creative. So overall, the second Benham Park shoot felt faster, clearer, and more controlled. And this is one of the big benefits of returning to the same place. And for me, that was the most interesting part of the shoot. The second shoot was faster just because we already knew the space. I didn't have to waste my time to figure out which location, which spots I have to use. In some instances we were using the same spots, the same tricks we did on the first time. This time it was more about how to play with light, how to make the bottles more pop, and that's why I think it was way faster than on the first time. If you are interested in watching the first part of the shoot, please check it there or somewhere here or somewhere on my channel. And thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful, and see you next time. Bye.